20% is not that big of a discount, and I feel like we all, myself included, lie to ourselves that it is every time the Sephora VIB sale comes around. But the thing is, most people aren't even getting that 20% off. That is reserved for the Rouge tier. Most people shopping the sale are only getting 10 to 15% discount. That's nothing. The fact that Sephora has us getting so worked up twice a year for 10 to 15% off is diabolical. And now I know what you're thinking. Well, Kelly, 10, 15, 20% off is something. And I don't disagree with that, but I really want to reframe the way we approach the Sephora sale and just shopping for makeup in general. So today I want to talk about why I think having status at Sephora is actually a scam. I then want to show you my interactive spreadsheet of questions to ask yourself before shopping the sale this year. And then for good measure, I will round it out with times that I think it makes complete sense to shop the sale, and also share some examples of how I'm navigating the sale this year / the products that I might pick up or would be looking at based on my mindset about the sale. You know, I was talking about this with my friend Tom the other day, and they brought up a great point that the Sephora sale is kind of a bygone era. It used to be a big deal back in the day because sales were so much less frequent. Like, makeup didn't really go on sale the way that it does today in 2025, but Sephora not only does 2 sales a year, they price match for Ulta's sale, they do a friends and family sale. I think they might even do multiple friends and family sales. They do constant sales throughout the year. They'll throw you a 20% discount. Like, this is not your only chance to buy makeup at a discount from Sephora. You will have a million more chances before the year is out. Which brings me to my first point, which is why I think having status at Sephora is kind of a scam, at least in 2025. So as you probably know, there are 3 tiers at Sephora. There is the Beauty Insider, anyone can join that. There is the VIB, which is unlocked after you spend $350 in a calendar year. And then there is the ever aspirational Rouge category, which is for shoppers that have spent $1,000 in a calendar year. And I think back in the day, it actually meant something to be Rouge, but today in 2025, it grants you basically nothing. The only difference is that you will get a slightly higher percentage than the other 2 tiers during the 2 sales of the year. But again, even shopping outside of those sales, Sephora offers you multiple chances throughout the year to get 20% off. For example, last year they gave everyone a 20% off coupon in December to use on a purchase. Even for people without Rouge status, they just gave everyone an additional 20% off coupon. This was right after the end of the Sephora VIB sale that they already claimed was their biggest sale of the year, and yet everyone got another opportunity to get 20% off. Like, what is the perk of Rouge if everyone can get this discount? Technically, you can redeem your points for Rouge rewards, but even those are not great redemptions. You can exchange 2,500 points for a $100 reward. But let's remember, 2,500 points means you spent $2,500. I mean, unless you used a point multiplier, but still, they're not giving you much for Rouge status. Not to mention, everyone gets free shipping now. Rouge used to unlock free shipping, but now they offer that to anyone who buys anything on the Sephora website. Call out there, I'm speaking as a Sephora US shopper. I don't think that's the case everywhere. So all that to say, I implore us to release the desire of needing status at Sephora because it is granting you practically nothing. And I say this as someone who used to care about status at Sephora, but as of today, I'm very proud to say I am just a beauty insider. It used to mean something to me. In December, I would think, let me make an extra purchase so I can roll up to the next tier. Let me hit Rouge. Let me at least whatever. But I can tell you now that I have stopped caring and stopped having status at Sephora, it has changed my life in no way whatsoever, except for the fact that I'm not making purchases that I don't need just to reach this arbitrary tier that, again, really doesn't unlock you anything. Okay, but now I have a list of questions to ask yourself before shopping the sale. And this video was interesting for me because in the history of my channel, this is the first Sephora VIB sale. I'm not planning to make a recommendations video. It's something I've always done in the past, and in the videos I've been critical of the sale and kind of shared similar thoughts to this, but still kind of shared recommendations and kind of viewed it as just like, you know, a favorites video of things that happened to be at Sephora. But it just wasn't feeling right for me this year to put together a VIB sale video because I've really kind of rewired my brain away from consumption, and it is hard to do on the internet because I feel like that is the default.
These are the top 10 investment investment pieces I would buy during the Sephora sale.
Products that you should be adding to your Sephora cart immediately.
These are my Sephora sale must-have products.
Like, I was watching a vlog the other day from a creator that I love, but she recently moved and she was sharing all the products that she bought for her new home, and she just kept showing things and saying, I bought these new bowls. I had old bowls. There was nothing wrong with my old bowls, but I kind of just wanted some nicer ones. And then I bought this new cutting board. There was nothing wrong with my old cutting board, but it was a little big and I wanted one a little bit smaller. And I feel like that type of content perfectly illustrates how consumerism has rotted our brains and how we're programmed to always be consuming and buying more product, even at the times that we don't actually need or sometimes even want it. Every item in the haul began with, I didn't really need this new one, but I bought it anyways. And I find that's how a lot of us look at the sale, when in reality, I think a VIB sale or any type of sale can be a great tool. And again, I'm going to talk in the second half of the video about what I think is worth buying at this time. But a lot of what I like to do in my content is help us deprogram some of these shopping compulsions that we're really just taught of, like, maybe a cutting board an inch smaller would serve my life better than this cutting board that is an inch bigger than the one that I desire. Okay, so my questions, and they come with dun 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 dun, a matching graphic that I put together. It's funny, I was putting my questions together and I realized they were kind of reading like those yes or no flow charts of like answer yes, no. And I decided, why not just put them all in a flow chart? So I'm gonna walk through the questions here, but I will actually have the flow chart linked down below if you wanna access it and kind of ask yourself these questions before you shop this sale or really any upcoming Black Friday sales. Question number 1 is, are you actually out of anything? And similarly, this could be, are you about to be out of anything? But a big reminder I want to share is that there will be more sales next month. There are a ton of Black Friday sales right around the corner. Sephora will be doing a ton of sales throughout the rest of the year. And if history repeats itself, they will also give you another opportunity to use a 20% off coupon in like 2 months. And even if you don't buy something then, the spring Sephora VIB sale is only 6 months away. So if you have a little bit left, but it might last you 6 months, you could easily wait until that next sale, pick it up then, and also get a discount. Number 2, are there products on your wish list already? And this was part of the reason I kind of strayed away from making my typical recommendations video, because the way I view it, if I didn't already want something, I don't need to watch a video from someone else to convince me that I do want something. Similarly, that's how I feel about any video that's like Amazon products you didn't know you needed. This is always like a big topic near Prime Day, and I'm like, if I didn't know I needed it, it's because I never actually needed it. If I haven't already been pining over this piece of makeup for months, I probably don't need or want anything that badly. And I will say, as someone who's done a series of like no buys and low buys over the years, that is one of the biggest takeaways that I've learned. If I haven't wanted something for a while and I haven't been craving and like researching a purchase, oftentimes it'll end up being something I regret. Like the spur of the moment purchases, the impulse buys, are the ones where I'm like, yeah, I didn't need that and I don't love it and I don't use it. Number 3 is, does what you have right now work just fine? Because one of the biggest misconceptions with makeup is that buying this new product is going to result in this entirely new outcome. But one thing I can tell you as someone who typically does like pretty minimal makeup every day outside of my green eyeshadow today, who am I? As someone who does pretty minimal makeup, it really does not matter if I do a full face of the same products every day, a full face of different products every day. The outcome is pretty similar. Buying a new blush is not going to revamp your makeup routine. The difference probably won't even be distinguishable. So if what you have right now is working just fine, adding something new probably will not change your life that much. 5, will your current products expire soon? And I'll talk about this again a bit in the second half of the video, but that's kind of the time I think it makes sense to utilize a sale, use it as a tool. But if everything you have right now is relatively new, it's not going to expire, you might as well get use out of these products now, because the thing is, they will expire one day. And if you're bringing new makeup in, that's minimizing the opportunity you have of using these other products that will, again, expire eventually. And something I've shared before is that the more you have, the less that you get to use the things you love. And here's the analogy I've shared with you. Imagine you have 7 shirts, but one of the 7 is your absolute favorite. And as you cycle between these 7, you get to wear it once a week. So once a week, you're getting to enjoy your number 1 favorite shirt. But let's say you go on a shopping spree, buy 7 more, and now you have 14 shirts. That means you only get to wear your favorite shirt once every 2 weeks. Now, it's not a perfect analogy, but I do think it illustrates how having more doesn't necessarily bring you more. This could be a great time to focus on what you have that you currently love, and then in the future, you buy some of these other products on your mind. Okay. That's where I recommend starting. Get in that mindset. Let's deprogram the buy mentality that we are bombarded with on the internet. But I will say, contrary to popular belief, I do buy stuff. So let's talk about when I think it makes sense to shop the sale. How do we think of the Sephora VIB sale and the upcoming Black Friday sales as a tool instead of a trap? The first thing I think makes complete sense to buy in the sale that I would recommend, products that you're gonna use up, products that you are about to use up, things that you go through often that you need. Maybe your shampoo and conditioner is almost empty. Of course, buy it when you can get between 10 and 20% off. That is a no-brainer. Something like a body wash. I love the Salt and Stone ones. These are at Sephora. That being said, you don't need to spend this much on a body wash. Even with the sale, you can definitely get the job done with something from the drugstore, but I do love this entire line. Like the Tower 28 SOS spray, I realized the other day, I'm like, oh, this is almost empty. This is one of my favorite products. I use it constantly. I've gone through a million of these. If I didn't already have a backup waiting for me, I would repurchase it in the sale. But I know this one's gonna be done soon, and then I'll use my backup, and maybe when the spring sale comes around, then I'll buy another one. One I might pick up in the sale is my Danessa Myricks primer. I am about to be done with this any day. This is my holy grail. It's my favorite primer. Again, perfect time to pick it up in the sale. The sale is a tool, not a trap. Number 2 ties back into one that I said earlier. It is the product that has been on your wish list. Again, this is something I find to be true with my own shopping habits. If I have been pining after a product for a long time, I have done the research, I've watched all the reviews, it has stayed on my wish list for many months, it is rarely a purchase that I regret making. So I feel like these are the times to get a little bit of a discount, even if it's 10 to 20%. If it's something you were going to buy and you've been planning to buy, picking it up during the sale makes total sense. Number 3 is similar to that, but a different version, and this is your large purchases. Again, I feel like these should still be like the large purchases that have been on your wish list, but if you've been looking to buy like a new hair tool, a new full-size fragrance, maybe a skincare device, definitely get that when you can get some sort of a discount, and especially if you are at those higher tiers and you're getting more like 20%, this could be a great opportunity to save a little money on something you've been planning to pick up. Let me give you a personal example. One that I had on my Sephora VIB list that I was planning to pick up was going to be the full-size version of this. I picked it up earlier this year. This is You Fleur from Glossier. I love the entire Glossier You line, all 4 I would recommend. But I'm about to be out of Fleur because I've been loving on this all year, and I'm like, you know what, let me buy the full size. But I was waiting. I'm like, I'm gonna get it on sale, get a little bit of a discount, and then, lucky for me, my friend actually decluttered it to me because she didn't like it. And I'm like, how could you not like this? It's the best scent ever. But anyways, that's my example for number 3. That was one for me where I'm like, it's a slightly higher cost product. I've been waiting for the sale to pick it up now. Maybe your blow dryer's broken and you wanted to get a new one. This is the perfect time to buy those higher value products. My call out though is if you're not getting that 20% discount, if you're more like 10 to 15, you can either wait until later in the year and hopefully they'll also offer us that 20% discount again, or wait to see what these brands will do. Because there's a high chance if you're trying to buy a device or a hairdryer or something for Black Friday, you can probably get a bigger discount than what you could get at the Sephora sale right now. And number 4 is gifts for others. I feel like using this sale or any of the upcoming Black Friday sales makes total sense if you're planning to buy beauty products for other people in your life for upcoming holidays, birthdays, whatever. I especially feel that way about value sets, which was what I said in my Sephora value sets video, where I don't know that they always make sense for the individual, but they can make great gifts or great gifting options, maybe split them up. If you haven't seen that video and you liked this video, it was a similar vibe. I will link it right here and down below. The real takeaway here is that we could all benefit from remembering that 20% is not that big of a discount. It's actually pretty impressive that Sephora has convinced us that this is the ultimate sale of the year. Most of these brands will offer a higher discount on their own website. You can easily get 25 to 30% off on their website, usually just from giving your email. Not to mention the sales will come back around. You will have a million more chances. And as I keep coming back to in this video, let the sale work for you. Let it be a tool instead of an excuse for buying a bunch of stuff that you probably don't want and need and might regret purchasing in the future. I hope this video was helpful. I've got a playlist about conscious consumption right here if you want to watch more, and I will go ahead and see you in my next one. Bye!